on Google Play. We're going to be finding out the final spot of the World Finals coming from Europe in this specific matchup. It's Zerpolita, it's Viilipytty. Stoic, take us away.
Here we go. Zerpolita and Viilipytty. Hopefully Zerpolita found some will runes going up against Viilipytty. I think he's going to need them here. Pre-bans have gone out. Amelia and Savannah getting pre-banned.
Yeah, but even though he doesn't have will runes, he also lost an Amelia here. So Zerpolita is going to have to play with something other than Artorag. Goes with that CR first pick, as we've seen, very strong unit. Viilipytty instantly reaches for that Okeanos and is deciding what to pair with. Goes with the Bastet. Interesting pick with the Bastet here. I'm not sure about this because Bastet does not do a ton after it goes off. So Zerpolita may just need to survive this Bastet in order to win this game.
Well, Zerpolita is going to be responding with a Josephine and a Juno after seeing an Okeanos Bastet coming out. Viilipytty locking in the Ganymede and the Shan. He may have picked up on the no will runes Zerpolita was supplying in his previous match. Zerpolita is going to be wrapping up his draft here.
So Viilipytty doesn't really represent defense break except from Bastet here, which comes out after the opening. So I would like to see some sort of a Molly, Ragdoll, or some way to come back, and just a ban on the last unit potentially. Instead, when he drafts out this way, he is letting both the AOE units through and likely taking out that Ganny, and is going to try to survive. So if I'm Viilipytty, I'm going to add in one more piece of damage, maybe a Daphnis, or something else to be able to nuke out a unit. I think that's going to be his best way to attack here. Instead goes with a Vigor, and this signals likely a ban on that Ciara. Vigor is obviously a very strong unit. It gives you the speed buff and it gives you heals and whatnot. But either way, that's the ban. But Zerpolita is facing a Ganny Oki lockdown here.
Well, here we go, guys. We're getting into our first match with Viilipytty and Zerpolita. Very important. Let's see if Zerpolita's got any will runes for the comp that he's brought here. Here we go, guys. Zerpolita, Viilipytty, and we have Zerpolita with a very quick Josephine.
Yeah, that Josephine and Juno are both super fast, and that Sierra also following up super fast. So either Viilipytty has C3 speeds or Zerpolita has legend speeds. Either way, that Bastet does outspeed the other two units, and we're going to see a lot of damage coming out from this Ganny, Shan, Oki combo.
And there's the reset going out onto the CR. You can see Seal of Magic coming out onto Josephine. Does he get the full attack bar reduction? And he does. Shan primed and ready. Going with the third skill, getting the stuns onto the Josephine and the CR as well, pushing up his team in front. Possible Curse of Beautiful coming out, and he does choose to go with the Curse of Beautiful, getting the heal blocks on top of everybody.
And this is going to be one of the fastest games of the day here. That Okeanos is going to do so much, and there's a Shan and a Ganny, and with Ventilate in the back pocket, Viilipytty is going to take a very quick 1-0 lead here.
Massive skill 2 right onto that Juno, removing it from the field. And we've got Okeanos with the Rain of Stones pummeling so much damage, dropping that Fire Monkey King, going for that reset. Viilipytty taking round 1 away from Zerpolita.
I mean, that was as quick of a match as we've ever seen here. I don't know why Zerpolita decided to take out that Vigor. I really think he should have taken out either the Ganny or some piece of damage there. And I think with this draft, he wasn't able to survive the onslaught. The Fire Monkey doesn't quite do enough. I would have preferred to see a Molly in play or something else to allow him to mitigate damage. Fire Monkey does damage on its own later once it gets stacks, but he needs more damage mitigation on his team. We didn't see that, especially when your opponent takes a Bastet first. Didn't see that proper response to the Bastet, and that's why he got wiped out in probably the fastest match of the day today.
Really enjoyed Viilipytty's draft there. Very smart draft. And honestly, this is showing he's doing his homework here. And I love seeing that these players have put in their work and their effort is showing in their drafts and matches.
Yeah, I mean, just a very great draft by Viilipytty here with that Bastet, super fast Bastet, and then a lot of damage from his team. It's interesting to note that Zerpolita's Josephine outsped everything on Viilipytty's team. So I wouldn't be surprised if that unit was on Swift, because it's really hard to get violent units that are plus 190 up. And I'm not sure if Viilipytty has those types of runes on there. So really, really well drafted by Viilipytty, and also very fast and exciting match we just saw.
Most definitely. You can see the pre-bans from last time, that Amelia getting pre-banned by Viilipytty and the Savannah getting pre-banned by Zerpolita.
Yeah, Zerpolita taking out a piece of the damage coming out from Viilipytty. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Gani ban though. Gani's just such a strong unit in the hands of Viilipytty, especially into what Zerpolita is repping and without will runes. But we see a Sierra pre-ban, of course, denying your opponent the Sierra in this meta, very strong. And European players with Sierra are very dangerous. They know how to use that unit very well and how to pair it. So we see a Wusa pre-ban and the Sierra pre-ban, and Viilipytty showing us that he's going for aggression.
Yep, definitely going for aggression. First picking that Bastet. Zerpolita looking to respond. We may be seeing some turn 2 play coming out of Zerpolita now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zerpolita either needs to counter this with some sort of Chiwu Okeanos, which is a very great counter into aggression, or needs to barrel down turn 2 with like Arda, Rags, Mollies, Tyrannies, Vigors, things like that. So he's got 2 options to go with. Definitely decides to go with the second, which is to go turn 2. So Viilipytty likely going to double down on his play with some sort of Gani, Shans, Okies, and things like that.
Well, there's the Okeanos coming out for Viilipytty after responding to Ragdoll Molly, finishing it off with a Shan.
Yeah, and so we're not seeing the Gani come out yet. And so this might be a player read where Zerpolita may not actually have a Gani. Otherwise, it would make a lot more sense for Viilipytty to go Gani Oki there and take the Shan later. So I actually don't think Zerpolita doesn't have a Gani, which is pretty unlucky given the fact that he has an Arda Rag but doesn't have a Gani. So he does have to go with turn 2 here and goes with Amelia and Josephine. Not sure about this response here, given the fact that he's off will runes completely. Viilipytty's definitely going to be laying down the Ganymede, and he's going to have free reign to do whatever he wants. I would like to see a Poseidon, if given the fact that Zerpolita doesn't have will, Poseidon would probably win him the game outright against the Molly. But again, this response is also perfectly okay. I mean, Savannah does so much, and so does Sean stunning the team. I mean, this is just a lot of aggression coming out from the side of Viilipytty.
Yeah, Viilipytty looking very, very strong. Zerpolita needs to wrap up his draft and responding to see an Ethna and a Savannah, and it is going to be a Juno.
Yeah, the tough part about Viilipytty's draft for Zerpolita is that both Ethna and Savannah give defense break, AoE defense break off the bat. There's a lot of AoE stuns here. I mean, Viilipytty can probably ban out either the Molly or the Josephine and be perfectly fine, or just ban out the last unit of Juno if you don't want to be revenged into Despair style. So a lot of bans are fair game here, and Viilipytty does decide to take out that Juno, and Zerpolita, his path to victory is going to rely on that Molly to provide glancing to his team, which comes at a 20%.
Well, crit rate lead for Viilipytty, accuracy lead for Zerpolita. Can Zerpolita hold on and finally take a match away from Viilipytty? Or are we going to continue to see the pattern today? Is Viilipytty going to get a 2-0 here, potentially going into a third match? Zerpolita really needs to take one, honestly, for everyone. Here we go, guys. Amelia taking first turn off of Will. Is it a Swift Amelia?
That is definitely a Swift Amelia, and it's so fast that it outspeeds the Bastet. So might be the world's slowest Bastet, which we've seen that it's at a decent speed, but also super fast Amelia there. Now Viilipytty does have the ability to take out a unit with skill 2 from that Shan, and a lot of damage coming out from Ethna here, and does need to take out that Amelia, or he's going to be in trouble without healing.
Capture is not able to stun it up there. Savannah applying a lot of damage here. Sean looking to finish off the Amelia, and does so. Very quick for Viilipytty.
Yeah, very quick for Viilipytty here, and that Molly not doing anything at all. That 20% did not come into play, so a little unlucky for Zerpolita. Might cost him this game as he takes defense breaks and more damage coming out from all of the units on the side of Viilipytty.
Yeah, definitely gets the heal blocks as well. The defense break on top of that Molly, but a stun in the additional turn coming out of this Josephine.
Yeah, this Josephine's going to need to do a lot of work, but does not get that stun onto Savannah, which is pretty huge, as Savannah does have the ability to give the team speed buff and AoE defense break and AoE reset on the other team. So it's just so much change in tempo, and a lot of damage that Viilipytty is constantly going to be able to churn out here.
That Shadow came out getting that defense break on top of Ragdoll. Savannah not able to get a defense break on anybody either. You can see that skill too coming up for Josephine, looking for provoke on Ethna, not receiving that provoke there. Ethna trying to take care of this Ragdoll. Ragdoll does hold on. The attack break comes out onto the Ragdoll. Savannah's going to be dropping the Ragdoll there with the additional turn as well. Oh, there you have it. Viilipytty taking round 2 away from Zerpolita.
I mean, this is just a tough matchup for Zerpolita. I mean, you saw that Amelia was still able to take turn 1, and usually when you take turn 1 into units, and give immunity over units that provide defense break, you should be able to win. But unfortunately, that 20% from Mali wasn't able to come into play there. Viilipytty took out that Amelia, and once that happened, Zerpolita's units were sitting duck. Kind of a tough situation. Viilipytty just, I think, has the monster box advantage over Zerpolita. As odd as it sounds into an Art of Rag, I think Viilipytty is favored based off of monster box, knows this matchup well, and knows that his way to beat this comp is by nuking units down, using Bastet, and just bringing lots of aggression, ending these games super quickly.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I definitely feel for Zerpolita. I think I have a very similar draft style to him as well, and I know exactly what's going on in his head, and it's just that non-ability to get that first turn. Though I would have my units willed up just a little bit more than Zerpolita has, but he's doing his absolute best. You can see he's looking to units like the Amelia, like the Wusa, trying to get as much immunity up as possible, and that probably explains why he's running such a fast Amelia. But yeah, I mean, here we go, guys. We're getting into round 3 with Zerpolita and Viilipytty. You can see the pre-bans from last time, the Wusa and the Ciara.
Yeah, we're going to see that Amelia pre-ban. That Amelia outsped Bastet. So kind of an interesting situation there. That Amelia probably on Zerpolita's fastest runes, and it's off will, because typically Bastet sit in the 310 range, 315 nowadays. So even though, and so it's a super fast Amelia being pre-banned. Taking out the Sean is an interesting one. Not sure if that's the right ban, just because there's so many AoE units. Sean's role can be replaced by any other unit out there. So, but I think the ban on the Sean is to allow him to take that Ciara. I think Zerpolita is fighting at the speed
that ban on the Sean. He definitely respect that. You can see it in his face.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I mean, Viilipytty's team can replace Sean with any other AoE unit. Sean is not core to allow his team to tee off again, and that's why we see the Bastet Ganny go off here. He wants to keep his flex picks, the Okeanoses, the Ethnas, open-ended, the Savannas. He doesn't know which ones to use yet, and that's what makes this draft so strong in the Zerpolitas. He's able to push aggression and can figure out how he wants to attack and how he wants to use his damage units.
Zerpolita looking at turn 2 again with that first pick, of course, with Ciara, Ada, and then Mali Viilipytty looking to respond with an Okeanos and one more unit.
Yeah, so Ciara, Artemil, and Mali don't give a lot of immunity here. So Viilipytty likely going to lay down the Savannah, but he needs to be aware of Zerpolita with the possibility of double immunity. If there was an Ileana Wusa last 2 pick, that would be very strong here. We knew that Viilipytty was going to go Oki Savannah just by how he's drafting and what Zerpolita's weak to, but some sort of double immunity would be quite strong from Zerpolita's side.
Zerpolita has 2 last picks, needs to respond very well to seeing an Okeanos Savannah. He needs to stay in this competition here with these last 2 picks.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Leo and ban on Ganymede here, or some way to survive long term. Goes with the Fang Yan. We haven't seen a Wind Panda all day, and I don't think we've seen one all in APAC Cup or the America's Cup very much. So interesting pick on the Wind Panda here. If Wusa is banned out, Zerpolita has literally 0 immunity and units that are all weak to defense break. So interesting pick there by Zerpolita.
Yeah, most definitely. Viilipytty looking to draft 1 last unit, and it is going to be the Ethna. It's a great response to seeing this Wusa.
Yeah, Ethna's a great pick here. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Wusa banned out, and then you're going to be facing an Ganny Oki lockdown. And if not a Ganny Oki lockdown, there's going to be Savannah, Ethna, Oki, which is also super oppressive. Lots of attack bar resets. It's just a lot to take in if you're Zerpolita. Very tough situation, and I highly favor Zerpolita's comp, even if he loses a unit off the bat.
Yep, well, bans are out here. We have Bastet getting banned on Viilipytty's side of the field. Wusa getting banned on Zerpolita's side of the field. Speed lead for Zerpolita. Let's see if he can take that first turn away from Viilipytty, or is that Okeanos going to be fast enough? We're about to find out, guys. Does Viilipytty get the 3-0 on Zerpolita? Can Zerpolita take one away to stay in this competition? Here we go. Ethna is going to be taking first turn here. The only will runes are up on top of the CR, and that is it. Capture's coming out on that CR, looking for a stun here, not receiving the stun.
Yeah, but at the same time, Viilipytty has all 3 units with lots of damage coming out, moving right next. He's tuned very well. Mali does go in front of the Ethna, but doesn't matter. He has a Ganny, Oki, and Savannah lockdown, and it's a violent Okeanos, so Viilipytty is just basically going to be able to solitaire his way to the finals.
Yep, the stuns coming out, stunned up that Wind Panda and the CR as well. Gets the reset on top of CR with that Okeanos Violent proc.
Yeah, I think he should have gone for the stun on the Ganny there instead of healing up. I understand that his unit was low on health, and oftentimes you want to restore health, but that Ganny is going to be able to swing tempo a lot, resets the Feng Yan, and again, just too much damage coming out from the side of Viilipytty.
Yeah, too much damage indeed. We can see a Shadow coming out here looking for defense break, especially on top of that Ada as well. Does get the defense break, but of course Ada's going to be revenging still, but the damage is going to be cut in half, that's for sure.
Yeah, and unfortunately, does get the Despair stun, but again, that Ganny is going to be able to vent that Savannah, and Savannah's going to be able to go off again. And then once that goes off, there's going to be more skills coming out from Okeanos.
Ooh, we do have a Violent proc coming out of the Feng Yan, landing the defense break on top of Ethna. Ethna is looking a little low. Is Ada going to bring enough damage? Does not bring enough damage here. We're going to see that skill coming out of Savannah as their defense breaks on all of Zerpolita's units. Does finish off that CR defense break, still sitting on top of this Adamil.
Wow, but that's a huge proc by Okeanos because it does allow him to skill 3, and that Savannah does have skill 2 up, so he's going to be able to nuke out a unit. There's only 2 units left from Zerpolita, and I don't see this Feng Yan soloing into a Ganny, Oki, and Savannah.
I do not, but I do believe Zerpolita is going to try, that's for sure. Looking for a strip on top of that Savannah, not receiving it. We're going to see this skill 2 possibly go out onto the Feng Yan, making sure that skill 2 is not going to be up there. No, chooses to go for the reset, not receiving it on top of the Molly.
Yeah, that Feng Yan was reset earlier here, so Zerpolita is just going to rely on riding this Feng Yan to victory. Feng Yan does have skill 2 up, but again, not sure if that Feng Yan is ignored. I don't know if Zerpolita has enough to come back.
I mean, Viilipytty definitely has to be careful, because we have seen Feng Yan solo in the past, but Savannah's going to have to put a stop to that. We're going to find out. Zerpolita, he's still in it.
Yeah, we're going to need to see this Feng Yan proc every time, because Ganny Oki lockdown means that Feng Yan might not ever take a turn. Once this Molly's out here, Molly's not going to be able to provide glancing, and that's going to mean a lot of damage being taken by this Feng Yan.
Ooh, there's a gigantic roar dropping the Molly there, but Savannah is looking very low. Needed to get that stun onto the Feng Yan as well. Feng Yan needs to Violent proc. Spirit of Devastation coming out, does not get the full strip because the heal is still going to be there, but the proc from Feng Yan does pop out there. Defense break sitting on top of this Savannah. Savannah is looking a little low. Is this going to be enough to finish off the Feng Yan? Feng Yan is dropped. Viilipytty taking the 3-0 on Zerpolita.
Wow, what a match there. And of course, at the end, Zerpolita giving